Commander Nathan Rourke's boots pounded against the concrete as he sprinted through the subterranean corridors of Earth Defense Command. The facility beneath Cheyenne Mountain hadn't seen this level of activity since the last nuclear standoff. Red warning lights strobed across reinforced blast doors as Rourke charged through checkpoint after checkpoint, his mind already racing. Asteroid impact, nuclear launch, or first contact. General Harlan Dent didn't waste time. "It's not friendly," Dent said the moment Rourke burst into the Situation Room, the main screen filled with terror. Rourke watched as alien ships methodically annihilated a planet. Beams of superheated plasma carved continents like a Thanksgiving turkey. The image shifted. Another world died under kinetic bombardment. Then another, and another. "How long has this been happening?" Rourke asked, already running simulations in his head. 3 hours, Dent replied grimly. "It's on every satellite, every—" "Wait!" Rourke raised a hand, stepping closer to the screen. A massive alien dreadnought discharged its main cannon, a bloom of plasma blinding the image for a moment. But Rourke saw it. A flicker. A pattern. "Can you replay that segment?" "Commander, we're witnessing the extinction of civilizations, which is exactly why we need to rewind it." Rourke synced his tablet with the main display. "Watch the plasma cannon. Track the firing rate." The weapon fired again. He counted under his breath. 17 seconds. His grandmother had taught him pattern recognition during the Korean occupation, memorizing Japanese patrols to survive. Same principle, different scale. 17 seconds, he said. "That's the cycle time of their main guns." The room went silent, save for the apocalyptic footage still looping. "Get me a tech team," Rourke ordered, fingers already flooding his tablet with notes. "And find me a physicist who isn't having a breakdown. We've just been handed the most detailed enemy briefing in military history." Aboard the Council dreadnought Inevitable Truth Fleet, Commander Thornall observed the primitive world's transmissions with detached satisfaction. His 6 eye stalks swiveled across the bridge's many displays. "Earth," he muttered. "Such an inefficient name for a planet." "Warning has been received," Subcommander Carnix confirmed. His smaller frame respectfully bowed. "Their communication networks are saturated with panic." "Begin the ritual of concluded conquest," rumbled Faulkner, the primary voice sack of the command cast. The bridge crew erupted in chittering harmony, singing a song passed down through 3,847 species, each one warned, each one conquered. "Military capability?" Faulkner inquired, though he already knew the answer. Kajan, their tactician, brought up a holographic model. "Chemical propulsion for space, kinetic firearms, crude fission devices, no sustainable fusion, no strategic depth." "And their projected response time?" Kajan, 3 cycles to surrender. 5 if they attempt negotiation. Faulkner's feeding appendages twitched in amusement. "Set course for staging, standard pattern. We'll be home before the tide feast." With algorithmic grace honed over 4,000 years, the inevitable truth turned. No surprises, no resistance. No species had ever required a second warning. 6 hours after first contact, Earth Defense HQ. Conference Room 7 had become a war room. Around the table, the Joint Chiefs sat in stunned silence as Rourke dissected 3 hours of genocide, frame by frame. "Frame 1847, he said, his laser pointer highlighting an alien fighter. "Note the shield distortion during atmospheric entry. Oscillates at predictable intervals, here, here, and here." Major Travis Mitchell, Rourke's second-in-command, added from the back wall, his Texas drawl cutting the tension. "What the commander's saying is their shields have a timing gap, like a boxer's guard can't cover every angle at once." "Frame 2293, Rourke advanced again. Alien infantry stormed what used to be a school, 6-legged warriors in powered exosuits. They always bear left when entering, always, which means their armor has a right-side sensor blind spot. Admiral Micah Reynolds interrupted. "Commander, we're watching entire species be exterminated, and you're taking notes?"
I'm taking notes, Rourke said coldly, because we're next. He pulled up another slide, a global industrial output comparison. Every species the Council's attacked? Pre-industrial, barely spacefaring, centralized populations, limited production. But look at Earth. Distributed chaos. Factories on every continent. 68 countries with military production. A culture of paranoia. We've never fought anyone who can build 1 million rifles in a month, Rourke continued. Or turn car factories into tank lines. A secure voice cut through the silence. It was the president. How long do you need to mount a defense? 6 months minimum, Madam President. 8 would be better. They'll be here in 4, Dent said grimly. The room exploded into chaos. Talk of nukes, surrender, evacuation, all of it futile. Rourke let it rage for 30 seconds. Then he slammed his tablet on the table. We have 4 months to build a military that can fight one specific enemy, an enemy who just showed us exactly how they fight. He changed the slide. Earth's industrial heartland was already mobilizing. They think they're scaring us, he said. They're actually teaching us how to kill them. Area 51, Sunset Drag. Yuri Volkov's rusted Lada coughed its last breath as he parked between 2 black SUVs. Disheveled, still in yesterday's clothes, he'd driven straight from Los Alamos. A young lieutenant saluted.
The newly formed Xenological Warfare Division was already dissecting alien tech. Doctor, Rourke greeted him. Tell me what you see. Volkov squinted at the screen. A city vanished under a plasma beam. He leaned forward, rewound, watched it again, then again. On the 7th viewing, he laughed, sharp and unsettling. Idiots are using magnetic bottles, he said. Helical containment. Like tokamaks, but reversed. Can we disrupt it? Volkov grinned. Not just disrupt. Make them blow up their own guns. He grabbed a marker drawing over the screen. Equations flowed in Cyrillic. All we need is ceramic composites with metallic lice interference patterns. Like this. A technician handed him a torch. Volkov fabricated a crude test piece. Plasma licked its surface, then dispersed harmlessly. Now, he said, beaming, we make 1 billion of these. 3 weeks after first contact, aboard Inevitable Truth Fleet. Commander Thornall frowned. The data was wrong. No mass suicides, no pleas for mercy. Kian, he said, explain these readings. The tactician hesitated. They're producing, Fleet Commander. Not evacuating, not surrendering. Manufacturing. Satellites showed Earth's factories running non-stop. Soldiers trained in simulations that mirrored Council tactics. They're preparing to fight us? Faulkner barked. With precision, Fleet Commander. They're adapting to our combat doctrine. Impossible. They've had no contact. They had the warning. Thornall's eye stalks narrowed, but 4,000 years of precedent outweighed one junior officer's doubts. Continue observation. Alert me if anything changes. Kian bowed and withdrew. But something gnawed at him. These humans were different. Their response didn't fit any known pattern. And in war, as the Council knew all too well, patterns were everything. 2 months after first contact, Detroit. Rourke stood on the factory floor, watching the M3A7 Council killer roll off the line. It's beautiful, Mitchell muttered, running a hand along its angular armor. Ceramic plating, Volkov said proudly. Turns a plasma shot into fireworks. And the railgun? Rourke asked. Mach 12 tungsten rounds, punch through their hull like it's wet cardboard. Across the world, similar scenes unfolded. Factories roared. Soldiers drilled. Orbital defenses took shape. Earth was no longer preparing to survive. It was preparing to win. Chinese factories churn out disruption warheads. Brazilian shipyards launch wave after wave of patrol craft. European facilities mass-produced powered armor.
Blue, retrofitted factories. Red, training facilities running council scenarios. Mitchell enters, tablet in hand. "You need to see this," he says. "North and South Korea just announced joint military exercises." "Well," Rourke murmurs, "the council threat did what 100 years of diplomacy couldn't test." What spits their focus? The ambush tactics. They set you're using council urban warfare footage to design kill zones. Turns out our chaotic city layouts are a strategic asset. Council units move predictably. Ours don't set. Rourke's grandmother would appreciate the irony. She'd survived Japanese occupation by memorizing patrol schedules, turning order into a weapon. Now her lessons guide Earth's resistance to something not even human. "Sir," the comms officer interrupts urgently. "Massive tachyonic signature detected. They're accelerating." "They're scared," Rourke mutters, and slams the general alert. "All stations. This is command. Council forces arriving ahead of schedule. Repeat. Council forces arriving early. All units to ready positions." The command center erupts with focused chaos. 60 days lost, but they gained something else. Earth had made the Galactic Council afraid. "Mitchell," Rourke says, "implement Matador Protocol. Let's see if our homework paid off." 3 months after first contact. Nevada Desert, Underground Bunker 12. Dr. Yuri Volkov hasn't slept in 48 hours. He's running on caffeine, nicotine, methamphetamine, and the raw joy of solving the impossible. Before him, a warhead that shouldn't dead exist. "Explain it again," Rourke says, eyeing the device. "Pretend I failed physics." "Simple," Volkov grins, eyes wild. "Council shields operate on harmonic frequencies. So," he gestures excitedly, "we build opposing resonance. Cancel theirs with ours. Shield doesn't set, just collapse, it inverts. Turns their own defense into a bomb." "And this set'll work?" "Not certain," Volkov admits. "But physics is physics, even for aliens." "Duff." He lights another cigarette, ignoring the radiation warning. "Test target. A replica of Council armor, based on analysis of footage. Volkov's warhead launches. A crude rocket. Desperate science. Impact. The explosion rattles the bunker. Nuclear-rated barriers vaporized. Nothing remains but ash and silence." "It works," Volkov whispers. Then louder, "It works. The shield amplified the blast. I am genius." "How many can you build?" Rourke asks. "With full production?" Volkov shrugs through the smoke. "Tens of Tosians. Then we turn their invincibility into their funeral pyre." Council Tactical Center. Inevitable truth. Kajan stares at the growing chaos on his screen. Earth's forces haven't just adapted, they've accelerated. "Flight Commander," he reports to Thornell. "The human fleet is now equipped with heat sinks precisely where we strike. Armor density matches our known plasma penetration. Railgun mounts precisely tuned to Council vulnerabilities." He pulls up ground footage. Boarding teams train on mock ships laid out like ours. Marines practice breaching at structural fault points. Fighter pilots run maneuvers. Our sensors cannot track. "They sip him not preparing for war," Kainyun says. "They sip him preparing for us. Specifically. Exclusively." Faulkner's eye stalks swivel in directions his species hasn't used in millennia. Uncertainty. Dread. His feeding appendages retract into his thorax. A primal reflex. "Double our thrust," he says. "Burn the drives if needed. These humans have done the impossible." "But perhaps negotiation," Cretin begins. "No," Faulkner thunders. "We are the Council. We do not negotiate with primitives." He turns to the fleet. "Ready all weapons. If they countered our tactics, Then we show them why we Sep ruled the stars for 4 millennia. But a whisper lingers in Thornal Sep's mind. In 4,000 years, no species has ever said, "Thank you." What else might these humans do that no one has ever done? 1 month before arrival, Luna shipyards. Commander Rourke floats in zero gravity, watching Earth's response take form, the EDS Stalingrad. An ugly thing. A cargo hauler wrapped in armor, bristling with improvised weapons. But she was built to kill council ships, and that's all that mattered. Ugly as homemade sin, Mitchell comments over comms. Passenger liners now serve as missile platforms. Mining vessels wield railguns. Freight haulers reconfigured into fighters. Each ship, designed from council footage, built for one task. The Stalingrad is ready for trials. The shipyard officer says, "Run her." The trial exceeds expectations. Plasma glances off Volkov's armor. Railguns punch through drones at council-prohibited ranges. Point defense tracks targets at impossible speeds. "How many ships operational?" Rourke asks. 47 now. 30 more in 2 weeks. Still not enough. But every ship bleeds above its weight class. "Remember the Alamo?" Mitchell asks. 189 defenders. Thousands of enemies. "They lost," Rourke says. "Yeah, but they made Santa Ana pay for every inch. And Houston learned from their blood." Mitchell nods toward Earth Sep's fleet. "Maybe we can set win, but we can make them bleed. And show the galaxy they set are not gods." "Upload all combat data to emergency beacons," Rourke orders. "If we fall, our reputation doesn't set." Final sequence. Arrival. The inevitable truth exits hyperspace. An avalanche of metal and malice. 2 weeks early. Drive cores scream. Protocols broken. The council has arrived. Report Thornal demands. Multiple contacts. The sensor officer stammers. "Mine's on our own." Approach vectors. "Impossible. Those paths are classified, protected by protocol." The first explosions answer. Crude, deadly. Mines rip through destroyers. Shields fail. Volkov's disruption warheads ignite cascading plasma failures. The screen turns white. Reverse course. Break formation. Too late. Asteroids crack open. Camouflaged hangars spewing fighters. Railguns roar, targeting blind spots. Recycling gaps. Every exploit the council gave them. Commander Kane calls out, calm amidst chaos. They prepared this ambush specifically for our doctrine. They studied the warning. They knew everything. Thornal watches his fleet, invincible for 4 millennia, start to burn. "Full assault," he screams. "Advance. Show them the price of defiance." The Battle of Luna has begun. Commander Rourke watches his screens. 7 enemy ships destroyed in 90 seconds. Now comes the real test. They're advancing in apex formation, the sensor tech reports. Of course they are. Rourke smiles grimly. Execute Matador protocol. Weapons free. Hidden launch sites come alive. Missiles streak into shield shadows. Volkov sets warheads find perfect resonance. Its council ships untouchable for millennia begin to fall. Humanity, the species that said, "Thank you," just delivered its reply. The Stalingrad led Earth's countercharge, her ugly hull shrugging off plasma fire, railguns punching clean through alien armor. "Sir, Mitchell's team has boarded the destroyer," reported a comms officer. Commander Nathan Rourke switched to the helmet cam feed. Major Travis Mitchell's Marines moved through the council ship's corridors like water, silent, surgical, unstoppable. Charges were placed at structural weak points revealed by the enemy's own broadcasted protocols. Every corner was cleared with precision. Every room breached based on patterns the council had used to slaughter countless others. "Demo set," Mitchell radioed. "We set her hauling ass to extraction." The destroyer's certainty's edge died from within. Explosions chained through its systems, perfectly synchronized to overwhelm fail-safes the council never imagined an enemy would understand. 12 minutes from breach to annihilation, faster than the Council's elite shock teams. My God, someone whispered in the command bunker. We stirb actually winning. No, Rourke replied flatly. We such are surviving. There's such a difference. The tactical display didn't lie. For every Council vessel destroyed, 3 advanced. Earth's fleet bled heroes with each exchange. But something had changed in the geometry of battle. The Council was hesitating. Aboard the inevitable truth, Fleet Commander Thornell watched the impossible unfold. His invincible armada, unbeaten for 4 millennia, was being torn apart by primitives, using repurposed tech and hand-built weapons. Fleet Analyst Cran's voice carried something Thornell had never heard from him before. Panic. They Civ had breached 3 more ships. They Civs are using our own boarding protocols. But backwards. They know exactly where we Civ are vulnerable. The tactical display confirmed it. Human Marines struck surgical weak points. Fighters exploited blind spots no outsider should have known. Capital ships fired weapons that flipped Council advantages into liabilities. And then Thornell saw it. Truly saw it. The human fleet wasn't just fighting. They were broadcasting. Every channel. Every frequency. Every band flooded with combat footage. The entire galaxy was watching the Galactic Council bleed. Sensor control. What just launched? Thornell snapped. The SAR disruptor. Commander, came the response. A SAR. What? The weapon detonated at the heart of the fleet. It wasn't nuclear, it was worse. A resonance bomb calibrated to Council shield frequencies. The cascade effect was instant. Shields inverted, engines failed. Defense systems turned executioner. 30% casualties. Cran reported, hands trembling. Our formations are collapsing, and the humans, they said, still broadcasting. The display shifted. Earth's cities were burning. Billions dead. And yet, humanity was still fighting. They learned, Thornell whispered. We showed them our victories, and they learned how to make us lose. Commander Rourke coordinated the defense from a secondary bunker, buried beneath the Nevada desert. The primary base under Beijing lay in ruin. Council ships regrouping beyond Luna, the tactical officer called out. Looks like they set reassessing. They still outnumber us 3-1, Rourke murmured. But they said her, hesitating. Missile status? 3 intact birds captured. Dr. Volkovtsev's already aboard one, giggling like a school kid. Says their tech is, quote, "that beautiful but stupid." Rourke allowed himself a rare smile. In 4 months, humanity had done the impossible, stood against the Galactic Council, and made them blink. Sir, a comms officer interrupted. Incoming transmission from the flagship. They set requesting comms. On screen, Fleet Commander Thornell appeared, his eye stalks stiff with tension. Though unreadable to human eyes, his body language screamed uncertainty. Humans, he began. You have fought with unexpected capability. The Council acknowledges your resourcefulness. Rourke didn't set flinch. Commander Thornell, if our intelligence is accurate, allow me to say thank you. Your warning proved most educational. He alien, stiffened. You mock the Council. No, Rourke replied calmly. We thank the Council. Your demonstration taught us everything. Every weakness, every blind spot, every predictable tactic, refined over 4,000 years of unchallenged dominance. Silence. Then, the Council does not... The galaxy is watching, Rourke cut in, gesturing to the live feed display. We SEP shared the footage with every species who asked. They SEP are all learning now, just like we did. Thornell's breathing deepened, a slow, sinking realization. The Thiz warning set is no longer a threat, Rourke said. It sets a tactical manual, and now we stir making it open source. A technician uploaded the final data packets. Ceramic armor blueprints, disruption warhead schematics, railgun designs, every innovation Earth had produced, freely distributed. Fleet Advisor Keijin approached Thornell cautiously. Commander, he said quietly, he speaks the truth. The protocol has become our greatest weakness. Every species will now demand the warning, and inside that demonstration is the key to destroying us. Thornell stared in silence. 4 millennia of unbroken dominance, undone by primitives who said, "Thank you." The display showed Earth's ships, bloodied, battered, but unbroken. Options, Thornell asked, though he already knew. Continue the assault. Victory is possible, but every loss will be broadcast. Or retreat, Kichan offered. Preserve what we can. Maintain the illusion of power. Delay the collapse. The humans advanced, confident, coordinated. Each ship shared sensor data in real time. They moved as a single organism. Cransta's voice came over internal comms. Fleet Commander, your orders. Around them, ships burned. The warning had become prophecy, but not as the Council intended. The humans were warned of their destruction, and instead became destroyers. Signal the fleet, Thornell said at last. His voice cracked under the weight of history. Strategic withdrawal, immediate departure. The Council fleet turned. Engines built for victorious arrival, now powered desperate escape. But the humans didn't pursue. They broadcasted, letting the galaxy see the Council run. At sunset, Rourke stood in the ruins of Earth Defense Command's secondary facility. The primary was buried under Beijing's rubble. "Sir," said the comms officer. Her voice cracked from exhaustion. Instead of receiving encrypted messages. Dozens, all requesting access to our combat data. "Make it open source," Rourke replied. "Every tactic, every blueprint, every weakness we found." Mitchell entered, scorched but upright. 3 captured destroyers secured. Falkov sets stripping them down. Says we settle have directed energy weapons online within a month. Casualties are still being counted. "We held," he added softly. Rourke nodded. "We gave the galaxy something priceless," he said. "Proof that the Council can lose. Draft a final message," he added. "Keep it simple. To the Galactic Council. Thank you for showing us exactly how to beat you. We're sharing the lesson with everyone. Love, Earth." 6 years later, the Alliance of Free Worlds convened in what was once Token's throne room. The inevitable truth, now a captured dreadnought, served as the heart of the resistance. Commander Rourke addressed representatives from 7 liberated species. Each had studied Earth's victory and adapted the tactics to their own biology. "The Council SEP's warning was meant to paralyze us," Rourke said. "Instead, it became our education." The display behind him showed red systems still under Council control, and blue systems already free. They showed us their strength, expecting fear. We saw structure. We saw patterns. In a cell aboard the Stalingrad, Thornell sat in silence. He received food, water, kindness, and footage. Always more footage. Today's SEP's broadcast, the liberation of the Pentari, a species who had once submitted for survival, now free, wielding human-style railguns and exploiting the same blind spots Mitchell had discovered years ago. Major Mitchell entered, casual as ever. "Virat just broke your apex formation," he said, holding a tablet. "Used your own playbook. Pretty poetic, right? Why are you showing me this?" Thornell asked bitterly. "Same reason your Vishan sent us that warning," Mitchell said. He stood. "You taught us that showing someone their destruction breaks their spirit. Now we start teaching you something else, that showing someone your mistakes can break your empire." The Council's warning still echoes across the stars, but now it carries a different message. Not of inevitable defeat, but of possible victory. And it all began with 2 words no conquered species had ever spoken. "Thank you." 10 years after first contact. Commander Nathan Rourke stood on the observation deck of the renamed vessel. Remember Beijing, once known to the galaxy as the Council Dreadnought, inevitable truth. Below him, Earth slowly healed. More cities rose from ashes. Memorials stood where the fallen had made their last stand. The scars of war remained, but so did something stronger. Purpose. Humanity now looked outward, no longer alone. The alliance of free worlds spanned 30 star systems, and growing. Each species brought unique innovations, new applications of the hard lessons learned from Earth's resistance. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. And at the center of it all was a small blue planet that refused to be afraid. "Commander," Rourke said's aide interrupted gently. "The Kafari delegation has arrived. They said's requesting access to the combat recordings from the Siege of Titan." Rourke had grunted, his eyes never leaving Earth's silhouette through the viewport. "Full access," he said. "Everything we learned from the Council Sepsa example, knowledge of how to fight, should never be hoarded." Behind him, on his desk, a simple plaque bore the motto of the United Earth Defense Force, "From warning to wisdom." Beneath it, framed in anti-plasma ceramic, was the original message sent to the Council. A thank you note, preserved in the very material that had made Council weapons obsolete. Dr. Yuri Volkov entered, smelling faintly of oil, ozone, and vodka. "Incoming with good news," he said, holding up a bottle in one hand and a datapad in the other. "We cracked their FTL drive." Rourke raised an eyebrow. "Turns out," Volkov continued, "the same harmonic vulnerabilities that wrecked their shields also work on their jump cores. You give us 6 months, and we sit'll have ships that can match their speed." He poured 2 drinks as he spoke. "Council Sep's latest intelligence says they've withdrawn to their core systems. 15 member species have declared independence. And guess what?" He lifted his glass. "The warning protocol Sep's been officially discontinued." Rourke took the glass. "They said are learning to fear the warned." He raised the toast higher. "To the Council," he said, "for teaching us everything we needed to know, for being stupid." They drank. "To Earth's salvation." A salvation born from humanity, Sep's strangest weapon. The ability to see a threat as a gift, a warning as a manual, certain doom as a problem to be solved. In the depths of space, the Galactic Council's empire contracted. On 1,000 worlds, alien species studied Earth's freely given tactical knowledge. What was once a threat, the warning protocol, had become the chronicle of the Council's downfall. And it all happened because one species had the audacity to say, "Thank you," and mean it.